next guest. We've got to hand him a bottle of the Nut Dust. You need this. Look, I guarantee you've used the other products before, maybe a Gold Bond. I hate to even mention them on the show.
Yes.
This is what you need. This is made from Scottish Highlanders.
Some of that baby powder, huh? Yeah. Nut dust. I sit down in the seat, and y'all talking about nut dust.
Yeah, well,
that's
welcome to our show.
Yeah, that's what I was going to.
I said this is going to be a great interview right here.
Well, I was going to tell you. I see on Wikipedia that you're 48 on the Wonderlic, one of the highest of all time, and then you sat down and we're going nut dust on you here.
Hey, the important stuff though. This is the important stuff. Like, you don't score 48 in a Wonderlic if you're not comfortable.
If you're not dusted up.
No way. You did your research.
If you're not comfortable.
Did you really go 48?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
But I had nut dust, so I was comfortable.
Apparently so.
I mean, it's one of the highest scores of all time. And you.
What was your major at Georgia?
Finance.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, he's dressed like it.
Yeah,
too, by
I
the
can
way.
tell that.
Yeah. I'm here with barely a sock on.
He's got a good shoe game too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should have T-shirts that just have the number 48, and that's what you should be wearing on Radio Row here. You've been asked about the Wonderlic a lot this week, I would imagine.
Well, the Wonderlic is, people have different ideas about the Wonderlic. I think that, okay, does it predict you're going to be a great football player? No. It does show how you process.
Right.
And the thing is, it also shows if you prepare. Because, you guys remember, taking the ACT or SAT, those sorts of things, and how you prepare for those sorts of things. A lot of guys don't take it seriously enough to even prepare and go through practice Wonderlics and learn how to do those types of analogies and those equations. And so I remember training for the NFL, we did all that stuff. Not only did we work on the 40-yard dash and the bench press and breakdown film and all those sorts of things, we actually worked on Wonderlics and dealing with the mental side of the game because it's one of the metrics by which teams test their players.
And it's also pressure under time, right?
That too.
You know who should actually take the Wonderlic is pilots, commercial pilots. I hate flying.
I'm pretty sure they got something that's a lot harder than the Wonderlic.
Okay.
at least I hope they do.
hope so. Yeah.
I hope they do.
Yeah, I'm interested when you have a NFL career like you did, and you have a college career in Georgia, and you go to the Patriots, and I remember you well with the New Orleans Saints. Where do you pick to live when you've lived in so many places in your football career? Football carried you to a lot of places. Where do you choose to live?
That is a great question. And it's not even just where do I choose to live, it's how do you choose it? It's like for my entire adult life, up until I'm 40 years old, it's been predicated on where we're going to go work. The family packs up. My wife and I, we have 7 kids. Yep, pray for us. 7 kids. And we move across the country to wherever we're going to go. And so for the first time, it was, okay, where do you want to live? It was like, I don't know. We recently just moved down outside of Atlanta, Georgia, being that we both went to University of Georgia. She has family there. I got family in South Carolina. The kids are getting older, wanting to be around their grandparents, all those sorts of things. And so we chose to live there. We asked the Lord to direct us, and we feel like we're in the right place. But we enjoyed ourselves thoroughly in each place for different reasons.
Now, in all those places, did you get more, hey, man, you're Ben Watson, or you've got to play professional sports?
Yeah, depending on the place, I would say it was one or the other. I like to call it kind of the body type stereotype. It's like,
maybe basketball?
Yeah, do you play? And I'm like, I wish I could play basketball. Like, I wish I was about 3 or 4 inches taller like Giannis is. And believe you me, I wouldn't be running into people if I could do that.
But I guarantee you in high school you were a good basketball player, right? I mean, most tight ends are because you got really good hands.
I was a good athlete.
Right.
I was never. I'm not even – sometimes you get older and like the stories get better. And by the time you're, 50 years old, it's like, yeah, man, I was an All-American in baseball. Like, the only reason why I didn't play was because I hurt my knee when you really, couldn't hit the ball at all.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to sit up here and lie to y'all. I was not a great basketball player. I did a great job fouling people. And I hit my layups and my free throws. That's about it.
Well, Bo Jackson could do anything. He could not play basketball. He couldn't. He was not a very good basketball player.
Yeah, so, no, I was.
Yeah, and I wonder if Deion could play basketball.
Yeah. I bet Deion probably could.
Yeah, you're talking about some of the greatest athletes of all time.
Like,
well, Ben Watson's with us. He is with the SEC Network now. Tell me about that gig that you're now one of the new faces on the SEC Network. How much are you enjoying that so far?
I am. The ink is still fresh. I signed with the network for the opportunity, and throughout my career, the last several years, I started doing a little bit of analyst work, and just when I had time, that sort of thing. As I mentioned, we got 7 kids, so I didn't have that much time.
But you got to feed them somehow too.
But exactly, but I got to feed them. And so once I retired, and we decided we were going to be local in Atlanta and kind of put down some roots. Then I started looking at different opportunities, and so I'm excited about the opportunity. Look, I signed, and they said, okay, your first step is you're going to go to media day.
Yeah.
And so this has been a great experience, kind of drinking from the fire hose, proverbially. And I remember being here years ago as a student athlete, 20-something years ago, and now to be able to come back and on this side of it, it's just very exciting for me. And so I'm getting caught up with the storylines and the personalities and all things SEC. So this year I will be on SEC Now. I'll be doing post-game work up at the studio in Charlotte. But the next stage of life, and I'm excited for it.
Do you think, because we've seen guys either go from coaching or playing to TV, and I think a lot of it is trying to still feed that competitive, like I'm still breaking down film, I'm still staying with a game. Do you see yourself being able to feed that competitive nature that just kind of came to a stop after your career was over?
Yeah, I think part of it, for me at least, is the football component. Look,
right.
For those of us involved in sports, you know that starts at a very, very early age. I mean, I remember, being 2 years old and getting a football was my first gift that I got, that I opened up. I have a picture of it. And so it's always been kind of a part of my cadence of life. And so in this way, you're able to stay close to the game, and not only close to the game, but see these young men specifically move toward adulthood. I mean, seeing my role as an analyst and obviously breaking down film and, seeing the storylines and commenting on those sorts of things, but also understanding the heart of these young men. And in some ways, possibly you never know where things go, being able to exert some sort of positivity over their life, even if it's from afar.
So your alma mater's here today, Georgia and Kirby Smart. And we brought this up yesterday. So years 2 through 5, Mark Richt, Kirby Smart, the exact same record, 44-9. To me, I don't know why it feels a little bit different for Kirby, maybe because he played for the national championship in year 2. I mean, does it feel any different for you?
I think that is the difference. But even for me going back, so when I transferred from Duke University over to Georgia in 2000, we had Coach Donnan, then he got fired, then Coach Richt came in. And then within those first couple of years, we won the SEC championship for the first time, I think, since 1980. And so there was this great excitement that was in the program at that point in those first 5 years that was similar to the appearance in the national championship for Kirby and the squad. And so it does feel the same. I think that this year there's a lot of weight on this year. It's not a make or break year. I hate when people say it's a make or break year. Nobody knows. I mean, nobody knows how long anybody's going to keep anybody in pro sports or in big time college sports. We just don't know. But I do think when you look at the Georgia football team and all the things you all have discussed from a quarterback standpoint, a running back standpoint, defensively, a recruiting standpoint, one of the great things I think the differences that Kirby has made is that after being in Alabama, understanding the importance of recruiting. And you look at his recruiting classes, the cupboard is full. And so it has to come to fruition. I think this year is a huge year because people are seeing so many pieces in place.
JT Daniels is the best Georgia quarterback since Matt Stafford. Is that fair?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, because those last
I don't
4
know.
games.
And I'll say it. In the last 4 games, he has 2 interceptions. Those were 10 touchdowns, I think.
Yeah, but it wasn't necessarily the toughest part of the schedule either.
It wasn't, and you're right. It wasn't. That's why I think this year for him, having a full year as a starter, we'll get a better idea. But I do think that anytime you have a quasi-entrenched starter in an offseason, it makes a huge difference. You will see a tremendous jump, not only in that player's development, but in the trust factor around him with the other teammates. It's one thing for a guy to come in and be a great quarterback, and he comes in, after week 6 or whatever and plays at the end of the season. It's another thing to have an entire offseason that's like, this is your signal caller. This is our quarterback. This is our guy. We're getting our timing together with him. The coach understands his strengths, his weaknesses, all those sorts of personalities. I mean, I've been on teams throughout the NFL where you've got guys like a Drew Brees or a Tom Brady who have been with the same coaches for, a decade. And it's amazing to see how they talk to each other. They just know each other.
Yeah.
And for an offense, that type of communication is paramount to putting points on the board.
we cover Alabama and Auburn primarily with our show. That's where our roots are. You know what they've done since 2009 in this state. As a Georgia athlete, do you guys hear about 1980? Do you feel the pressure of a conversation of a national championship? You can only handle 3, 4, or 5 years, but is that a real reality for a Georgia football player?
I don't know that it's a real reality for the guys playing now. I mean, it's funny. The older you get, I'm not saying I'm super old at all, but you realize how short memories are for younger people.
Right.
They're like, I mean, I was born in 1980. And so to me, the year rings because of that. But for the guys that are there now, I can't say that they are at all thinking about that. I would think that for many of them, they're realizing how close they came. I will say, though, for the fan base of the University of Georgia, it's a constant reminder every single year when you look across in the SEC West and you see Louisiana State win and you see Alabama win and you see Auburn even win, over the last several years before Georgia in the East. And so I think the pressure and the memory, the collective memory is more fresh for the fan base because those roots go generations. I mean, when you're talking about – another thing about the SEC that I love and being a part of it is that these roots of fanaticism aren't just, mom and dad, their grandma, their great-grandma. I mean, it's entire family trees, and so that collective memory.
Well, Georgia is a borderline elite program. So what is more amazing, the fact that they haven't won?
Do you love borderline?
Well, they gave you borderline.
You see the backhanded compliment there, borderline.
No, I'm not. And again, in my analyst role, I'm not offended. As a Georgia football player, I'm quasi-offended. But I understand why you said it.
So
I understand
let me ask
why you
this.
said it. You have to have a line of differentiation, and I get it. I mean, you can't deny it. You haven't won a national championship.
So as a borderline elite program, what is more amazing, that Georgia hasn't won one since 1980, or that Kirby Smart actually started as a defensive back in the SEC? I mean, because when you look at Kirby on the sideline, you're like, there ain't a chance in hell that guy played defensive back.
A lot of people don't realize that. So I missed Kirby by probably 2 years.
Yeah,
I actually was in school with his wife. Was there a friend of mine?
She could play hoops.
Oh yeah. She was bad. People don't realize that. So I don't know. That's pretty incredible. But I will say when we look at Georgia, and when you look at, I did a study. I looked this up online a few years ago, just about the number of players in the National Football League from the University of Georgia, and it's up there with Ohio, with Ohio State, with LSU, Alabama's. But it's up there with those elite programs that aren't borderline elite, as you mentioned. And so even when I was there years ago, our D line had Charles Grant, Richard Seymour was on it, Kendra. I mean, the names that were on those teams, incredible. Had great NFL careers, and so the knock always, even in the locker rooms, was always, man, y'all got all those NFL players, but y'all can't win no national championship. That's been the knock. So that's really hard to understand and to unpack.
You can follow Ben Watson on Twitter at Benjamin S. Watson, where this morning, or last night actually, he tweeted, if I had an extra billion, I would take a day trip to space.
You would?
Yeah, he said it would be an epic date night.
Oh.
Yes.
Man, you've worked too
Do you know
hard
the view?
to risk that.
Can you imagine the view?
You must love to fly.
Listen.
I'm scared of heights. My wife and I, we just celebrated our 16th anniversary.
Wait a second. You're scared of heights?
No, but check this out. We just celebrated our 16th anniversary. We went to Wyoming a few weeks ago. Went on a hot air balloon.
Uh-huh.
I almost passed out. About 2,000 feet above the floor, I almost passed out. But I can be in an airplane and be fine.
Right.
So I'm thinking if it's like really high, like going into space, I'll be cool. But can you imagine looking at, the Earth?
Oh, it's got to be incredible.
Oh, my goodness. You know how many points you will get if you say, babe, we're going to go on a quick day trip.
Day trip to space.
Pack a picnic lunch. And you take her to space.
You can go to YouTube and look at a view of the moon.
No, man, but you can't do the flip, man. Everybody wants to do the weightless
flip.
I don't want to do the flip.
Everybody wants to do the weightless flip.
You've got 7 kids. If you just let your wife sit in the bedroom and you take the kids somewhere, she'll take that over space.
Take the kids to
and
space.
save $1 billion.
Yeah, maybe we'll send the kids to space.
That's right.
And we'll stay home.
Yeah, she'll take that.
Until your age hits your Wonderlic score, don't take risks. You're at the best time of your life. You've got money. You got a great job. You got a great family.
Well, that's why I
and
said
you haven't even hit your Wonderlic score
that's
yet.
why I said if I have an extra billion, I'm definitely not going to get that extra billion anytime soon. So
That's right. This is
all the scratch offs they're not paying off.
Okay,
this is a theoretical conversation.
Yes.
Of all of the football you played, your favorite personal play in the history of high school, college, professional, one play.
One play, touchdown, SEC championship against Arkansas in the Georgia Dome, 2002.
Wow.
First time for Georgia winning the SEC championship again.
Didn't
Like I
you
said,
guys
since
destroy them?
80.
Wasn't it like 30-3?
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
That's all right.
I don't know where Auburn, Alabama was at that point. I guess we looked up and drew Arkansas. I don't know, but we did destroy them. That year, we were one win away from the national championship because, of course, Florida beat us somehow. But I remember that play, and I just remember that time because it was really a big time for the program.
Wow.
That's why you have hope, because I think he had Alabama as a borderline elite program back
Back
during that
then?
time. Yeah, back during that time.
Well, funny thing, Alabama, I think we played Alabama twice, and I want to say I didn't lose either time. Now, that must have been the only time in the history of America that Alabama wasn't good for that little span of time, but they were down those years and ended up winning. So
Alabama wandered in the wilderness for a little bit.
They did. So I caught them at the right time, but I never beat Florida.
That's gotta hurt.
That hurts badly.
Well, I mean, you just brought it up, so obviously it still sticks with
it
you.
It does. That hurts badly.
Yeah, that does. December 18th birthday. I'm a December 17th guy.
Oh, okay, that was my grandmother's birthday.
My daughter's December 18th as well. Too close to Christmas for you? Do you wish you'd had a summer one? Did your parents do anything to reward you away from the Christmas holiday?
No. Well, I always felt like it was okay because my sister's birthday is actually December 25th.
Okay.
It's all about perspective.
Yes.
What a life lesson. It's all about perspective. And so for me, being a week away, I'm like, I'm good. You know, your birthday is actually on Christmas, and so I couldn't really complain.
Wait, so what was going on with your parents if you back it up 9 months? Is there
it gets better.
Was there like an anniversary or something? Is it March, April?
No, it's actually, I don't know. Maybe, who knows?
Valentine's Day?
It gets better. My other sister's birthday is the 30th.
December 30th?
Yep.
Yeah.
I have an aunt who, I mean, she's related, but it's the 25th as well.
Yeah. Springtime in the
So
South.
it's something about like just our
Y'all had a family
tree.
reunion or something going on.
Yeah, something about our family tree that, right around April, things get a little,
That's
get a
interesting.
little froggy.
Very,
I don't know.
very fertile. Very fertile in April.
We be using the nut dust. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. That's fantastic.
Go follow Ben Watson on Twitter at Benjamin S. Watson. See him on the SEC Network this fall and throughout the season. Man, it's a pleasure talking to you. We appreciate it.
Great to talk to you guys. Thanks for the time.
Hey, when you bump into our friend Roman Harper,
Yeah.
tell him that you've got him out dressed this week.
I will. I definitely will tell him that. I'm gonna see him today.
Okay, let's see what Harp can do before it's said and done. Hey,
Thank you, Ben.